Hello and welcome to another Raggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits review. Today I get to review a beer that I've had a few times. Castle Rock Brewery's Elsie Mo. So it's a glorious golden ale, an ABV of 5%. And I've even got me Castle Rock Brewery glass as well. Hey, let's stay on trend, eh? Really. So, Elsie Mo's name is derived from the Low Colour Maris Otter malt, from which is it's exclusively brewed, and which gives the beer its lovely golden hue. A blend of First Gold, Aurora and Bobek hops give the beer its delicate citrus aroma and floral taste. So now you know. And look at that, good golden pour, good lacing around the edge, nice white head. Oh, definitely a nice aroma. Now I've drank this in pubs many times, at the bottle many times as well. And obviously Castle Rock Brewery are a brewery that they're not far away from where I work. And I worked at the castle as well, which is funny. So Castle Rock, all very, very interesting for me. There's definitely a hoppiness in the on the nose. A little bit of floral. Anyway, it's Sunday afternoon. I've just made 2 brews. I've got a rhubarb wine brew going off, and then using Wilco's their core velvet stout kit. I've put rhubarb. I've got a plentiful supply of rhubarb. And I've boiled some rhubarb up, add it to the core kit at the initial start of fermentation, just to see if I can make myself a nice rhubarb stout. All about, experimenting and seeing where it goes, really. Right, let's get this beer on. I'm in need. Well, you've got to say, a really smooth taste, definitely floral in the taste. Now, if you're lucky enough to, if you know Castle Rock, 3 of their beers are in shelves: Screech Owl, Elsie Mo, and obviously Harvest Pale. Screech Owl is now, it is Morrison's where it's on sale now. Yeah, nearly forgot. As to do 2 of the 3, they do Harvest Pale and Elsie Mo. Morrison's, I can't remember if they do Harvest Pale. They might do. And Sainsbury's don't do either, which is disappointing, but common and all, I suppose, with supermarkets. At one time, Kiss Me Kate was that was a fantastic beer. I think it needs, if anybody from Castle Rock Brewery is watching, I think it needs bringing out again, like We Love You Kate or something, or We Prefer Kate over Megan. No, you don't want to go down that road, do you? But The Country Loves Kate, like Brewdog do some of their piss-taking beers. Not to stir it, but certainly to get some, what's the word, coverage. It would be an interesting adaptation of a beer that you've already done. Really nice sweetness to it there, floral sweetness. So yeah, with the pubs reopening, Castle Rock now, I check out their Instagram page, Facebook page, bit of a stalker if I'm being honest. I just like new beers. And if you go to their pubs, especially the Canal House bar in the centre of Nottingham, you'll be able to get you might have to book before you go. But lots of beers there, and and I keep saying this on lots of videos that I'm doing. A company who I deal with, who I get beers off, Low Cost Beer, they're selling draft beer in litre bottles. So 2 pints, 2 bottles in a litre plastic bottle. No real branding, just a little sticker on the bottle telling you what it is. And I think that is a very good concept for pubs to use. Get you 1 litre plastic bottles, as long as they're a bit washed out, you know. And for take homes, 1 litre, so you're getting 2 pints a time, say whatever a pint is, 2 or 3 quid, you're getting 6 quid's worth. A local microbrewery up the road from me in Dable, Abdication. I'm going to start taking bottles to them because they do a massive range of beers, and I'll go in and I want one of them, and I'm sure they won't mind. I'll check before, mind you, but it's an interesting thing. I mean, a lot of people still aren't going to pubs because obviously they're scared stiff, and you know, for the sales, to put it into plastic bottles, yeah, there's the cost of the plastic bottle. Obviously, if you buy them already clean, then you haven't got to sterilise them or a little bit of a cost to putting a label on, but even so, yeah, printers can print out labels dead easy. And getting that beer out there to the general population, especially for us living in Nottingham, Castle Rock being from Nottingham, it's a very interesting idea. So, let's see it happen, eh? Let's hope it happens. It'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go down to the pubs with a load of bottles and look like a tramp, saying, I can have 2 pints of that in there, please. And same in there. Oh, yeah, that one in there. But hey, you know, if you have to, because some of the draft beers you don't get in bottles, and not a lot of people can afford 50-60 quid to buy, you know, polypegs and whatever they are, polypins and that. So to get it in a smaller, shall we say, a 1 litre bottle, or even a pint bottle, if you can get a pint bottle, but to get it in that, and then that creates more sales. It's got to be the way, isn't it? Just looking at the time, because I'm running out of space on me. I'll drive again. So obviously in a pub it's at 4.7%. In bottle it's at 5%. I never understand why there's a difference. I suppose there must be a reason why. If anybody'd like to comment on that and knows why, I'd be really interested. You know, as a beer reviewer, I certainly don't know everything. If I knew everything, I'd be a millionaire sitting and not working anymore. You know, because you'd know. And I won't be searching for jobs like one at the moment. And even contemplating going out of gardening and going into self-employed, which I don't really fancy doing. I'd love to go around pubs in Nottingham. Imagine looking after all your Nottingham pubs, doing the gardens, growing plants and supplying plants as part of my gardening thing. You know, doing X amount of, you know, with the amount of pubs about and pub gardens, you'd think there'd be a need for it, for decent gardening. Because when people come to a pub garden, they want to, you know, if I'm going to sit in the garden, I'd look around and think, bloody hell, this is a nice garden. You know, if you can bring them skills to all pubs around Nottingham, especially at the moment, I mean, even at home, I've got like 1,300 plants in pots. I've got over 20 trays of seedlings growing. If the future, albeit the near future, is all about drinking outside in gardens, but having a lovely garden, a sustainable garden. It's not all about bedding plants, because bedding plants are okay, but they're expensive to replace. Having plants that flower through the season and give a good display throughout, sustainable planting, it's got to be the way. I introduced it into the Arboretum when I worked there, and we had a rose bed that was basically, had been weed killed off. They used to use this weed killer called Cazoron G, and you put it down on the soil and it kills weeds about that big, and it stops any more weeds coming through for the year. Great, but it did poison the soil, which is why it's banned. But if you've got something, you know, and what we did, we turned the former rose garden, all the dahlia tubers we used to chuck away because they didn't want them back at Woodford Grange. We would plant them in this rose garden, and when I left in 2010, the years up to when I left, it was an amazing garden, probably one of the best in the country. Flowers, amazing. Very little work, bit of deadheading every now and again. You'd edge off the flower beds and that, but overall brilliant. We even had cannabis growing at one stage. I don't know where that came from. I know some black bloke got it and took it. Because he said to me, "You're not ripping that out, have you?" I was like, "I don't know what it is, mate." And I knew what it was, but I wasn't touching it. I sod it. Nothing to do with me. And he took it and it all of a sudden disappeared. So he probably dried it out and smoked it or something. Hilarious. Although, if we're talking about cannabis, we used to have, when the market square wasn't full of slabs, we used to have lots of flowers down there, and the fountains were there. And in front of the council house itself, we had these massive tiered planters. One day, we were doing the job on the planters, weeding and that. What the bloody hell is this thing? Stinks. Pulled it out, and my mate comes up and he says, "How the bloody hell's that growing? There's a 5-foot cannabis plant in front of the council house." Now, you think to yourself, there's police about. There's obviously lots of students about who know their cannabis stuff, and yet it was growing. We took it back to the arbour, and God knows what happened to it. I know I didn't touch it. I've never done drugs in my life, but yeah, it does make you wonder. So I better be careful because time's ticking away. I don't know if that's 12 or 2. No, it's 12. We're all right. Let's continue the virtual pub experience, talking about Castle Rock. So yeah, let me get back to the website, see what they've got in. So, beers. Oh, my favourite subject. So, obviously the core beers are Session at 4%, Sherwood Reserve at 4.5%, Preservation at 4.4%, Screech Ale obviously avoided to 5.5%, Elsie Mo 4.7%, Harvest Pale 3.8%. And you know, I've had all of them, but I've not reviewed Preservation, I've not reviewed Sherwood Reserve, and I've not reviewed Session. As you see, even though I live down the road, there's beers I've not reviewed, and I will try and get my backside. There's no Nottingham beers at the moment. What's this, 2? So here's some of the beers that are available at certain times of the year. And there's a SEPA Mosaic Econaut at 4.3%. A Single Origin Stout Colombian at 5%. An IPA Citra at 5.9%. Table Beer at 2.8%. Different. Sour Lero. I've not reviewed that. 4%. And then there's seasonal beers. Let's just click on the seasonal beers. Wow, let's talk beers. I've got to have a drink of this. Brine Club for 4.2%. Sheriff's Tipple at 3.4%. Another one, Don't Say Nothing, 4.4%. Harvest Pale, Quad Up, 3.8%. That's interesting. Hibiscus, Head in the Flower Bed, 4%. And that's the beers that are on the website. On the Instagram page, if you look on there, there's more beers because they tell you more of the stuff they're doing. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Certainly if you live in the East Midlands, obviously you can come down from any part of the country, can't you? And I know Castle Rock beers, if you speak to your local brewery or beer, pub, and they're a pub that can bring in beers. I know that Titanic they do beer takeovers of pubs where all of a sudden there's 5 of their beers there, and it's got to get beer to your location in the country, and get breweries supporting breweries. I mean, we have seen that in this lockdown. We've seen a lot of people coming together, and it's heartwarming to see it. Now I just need a lottery win and either retire or go into. For me, working in the brewery, you've got the best job in the world. I mean, and probably is hard work. I imagine there's a lot of cleaning. It's not all about drinking the good stuff at the end. But what an interesting job. So, as someone who's obviously a fan of beer, so I won't do reviews if I want, but working in a brewery, And the sad thing is, Titanic Brewery, they had a job going at their place. I think it was a delivery job, but it was minimum wage, and it was just too low an hourly rate for me to take. And that's that thing, isn't it? I'm not on a big wage. I'm only on £9.81 an hour. But obviously a lot of jobs are quite a bit lower. And even now, as desperate as I am to move to a new job, going to a job that's less than £9.81 an hour is certainly on the options for me, because we just claim more tax credits if need be. It's not about the money, it's about following a job that you want to follow, having a good life, having a laugh. talking to people and having interest. You know, I have two very big interests in my life, outside of the family obviously. Beer and beer brewing and all the aspects of it, but also gardening as well. Otherwise I wouldn't be a gardener, I wouldn't be a beer reviewer. Oh. So the combination of fruitiness and citrus really do complement each other in this. The hoppiness on the nose as well, still as you're going down the pine. And I've drank this many times before, so it's like being with an old mate, reminiscing about times when it's not strange, when you're not going to a shop with a face mask on and you can't breathe halfway around and you're struggling for breath. And you're like this. And it's the only reason one of my mates in Sainsbury's recognised me today is I seen you put your face mask down to get some breath, and I thought, it's Billy. Because we looked at each other and she didn't recognise me, and I thought it was her but didn't recognise her as well at exactly the same time. Then I got the little wave and that. So nice to have chats to people that are genuinely lovely people. If anything, the last year's taught me that, you know, in the world we live in, that the grass is not always greener on the other side. And I've learnt a very painful and valuable lesson. There you go. But hopefully I've got multiple things cooking in the fire, and you never know, something could come out of the blue from nowhere. I keep looking on the internet for wine. I'd even go back into retail doing wine sales, because I can talk about wine all day. I like wine, and I've looked, and the jobs just aren't there at the moment. The retail sector's struggling like every other sector is, and it is a real problem. When you look at people's jobs, some people have got, you think you're so jealous of their jobs. Obviously their jobs have got their own stresses. You know, if you're a salesperson, you've got to meet your sales targets. You can't just be sat there on a computer fiddling away all day. I understand all the aspects of it as well. But anyway, back to the beer. That was lovely. Totally enjoyed it. One of my favourites. Like I say, hoppy, citrusy, floral nose. That translates into the taste, and overall a so drinkable beer. A good one-off beer, but a flipping good session beer as well. 4.7 in the pub, 5% in the bottle. It's very quaffable. And sadly I ain't got another one, otherwise I might have popped another one open and started drinking it, as things are. So out of 5 then. For me, one of my favourites. Absolute classic. It's not the strongest of beers. But it's got the taste that I just love it. It tastes brilliant. Out of 5, 4.57 out of 5. Yes. Now, if there was a stronger version of this, about 7%, that'd be interesting. But that's just because I like strong beers, you know. And that's it for this beer review. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Hope we're all safe and hope we're all enjoying wearing face masks. It's lovely, isn't it? And you talk. I mean, at least you can walk by somebody now, and somebody you don't like and think twat under your breath, and you can't see you saying it. And also, if you really want to be good, you could go incognito to supermarkets, put your sunglasses on, put your face mask on. No one would recognise you. You can walk up to your best mate and go, "Tosser," and he'll look, "You're calling a tosser?" "It's me, mate," and walk off laughing. And make sure I don't give you a punch first, obviously. But yeah, you could do them sort of things. Right, I'm off. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. This has been videoed on Sunday. You might see it tomorrow. It depends how many I can get uploaded tonight. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers.